So welcome to the first Philadelphia Land Partners Meetup. It's so awesome to see you all and just totally excited to get things kicked off. So we've got a pretty, I think, a pretty robust agenda today. We're going to go around and do self-introductions, probably with this group, probably like 30 seconds. And if you could, your name, your organization, maybe a sentence on what you do, not a paragraph, so brief, if you wouldn't mind. And then something really cool that you enjoy during the summer, something you're really looking forward to. That'd be great. We do have a service provider who'll be doing a spotlight today, Jeff Artis, who just joined the call. And then we also have a kind of a feature that we're testing out. We've done out in a few of the meetups, which we call the Trade and Investment Roundtable. And we're really looking forward to David Brielle is going to be doing that. And the whole idea is really to get us talking around a topic that would be impactful for a trade and investment organization, either something they're working on or maybe one of their client companies is working on that we might have either knowledge or relationships that would help solve that issue. So we'll also give a bit of an overview of Land Partners as we're going through and kind of what we're doing, and certainly welcome any questions as well. I would certainly encourage, we're doing these now in 11 cities around the world. We started about 3 months ago. So you're in the early days for sure. But one of the things we're finding is it's a bit difficult and unusual being online, but please treat this as much as possible like we are in a meetup in a room together. So feel free, as Natalie said, to use the chat feature either publicly or privately. The whole idea is to help you make good connections here, so don't be bashful. If you are unmuted, somebody's got it sounds like they're cleaning plates in a cafeteria. So if you wouldn't mind just mute if you're not speaking, that'd be probably helpful. I feel it sounds like I was going back to school for a minute there. So in any event, let's get into some introductions, and we'll just go around. And one of the things on Zoom, if you haven't figured it out, some of you probably are in different views, but if you do you can do the speaker view or the gallery view, but the gallery view looks a lot like the Brady Bunch, so you can actually see everybody in one shot. And so at the top right, you can toggle back and forth if you like, and go Brady Bunch and then go speaker view, whatever works for you. So let's start and just do some introductions. Paul was the first one on board. Paul, would you mind kicking us off with your introduction? So name, organization, sentence on what you do, and what you're excited about going into summer.
I have a half-hour presentation ready.
Well, I have the mute and unmute button, so go nuts.
I'm Paul McGuire. I'm one of the founding members of Litis, which is a soft landing service platform company headquartered in Philadelphia, serving primarily the East Coast from Boston down to DC and below. We operate primarily in the UK and Ireland, working with SMEs entering the US marketplace. We're a service-based soft landing platform in that we don't provide any real estate, but we provide and facilitate contacts with service providers who are specifically working and have a history of working with SMEs, be the insurance, business development, finance, legal, for formation, contractual services.
And what do you enjoy in the summer?
Well, I like to travel.
Sorry.
You wanted one word. I mean, what do you want me to do?
But no, that's great. And obviously this summer will be a little different unless you like virtual travel.
Exactly. And my wife's in the next room, so I just like to travel.
There you go. Fair enough. Well, I heard something the other day that some people, if we go through another peak, are looking to be able to trade teams. So can you get a different team for the next round of COVID would be the thing. So maybe there's alternatives there.
Right.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, we're very big into that actually in terms of in-country providers. But anyway, we'll talk later.
Super. Thanks, Paul. And how about Al? Do you want to go next?
Yeah, let me unmute. Yeah, sure. So my name is Al Basilicata. I'm the director of International Business Development for the World Trade Center of Greater Philadelphia. If you're not familiar with the World Trade Center, there are 400 franchise organizations around the world, and our mission is to promote trade. The World Trade Center in Philadelphia has a contract with the state of Pennsylvania to provide market intelligence, research, and connections for PA manufacturing and service provider companies who are interested in expanding their business globally. We also work with international companies who are interested in entering the US market. And I want to get back to playing golf, which I just did for the first time yesterday.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. How was your game?
Well, let's not go there.
But at least you were outside. A long walk, at least not spoiled, hopefully.
Exactly.
Cool. Awesome. Well, welcome. How about John? Do you want to go next?
Hi, yeah, John Tour here. Second Irishman out of 3 people here. So I don't know what's going on. I am the owner of a company called Headroom. I call ourselves a business accelerator. We offer small businesses and startups flexible workspace in Media and Wayne. So we're a suburban-based outfit, and we have about 90 companies using our space, but all of them are US companies, and I think we would like to see some foreign companies coming in and using our facilities as a temporary base as they figure out what they're going to do when they get here, type of thing. So that's Headroom, and I'm looking forward to having my first draft beer.
All right. That sounds good. Excellent. Well, if you
you
go much longer, you can probably install one in your house. And go.
Looks like I might have to.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Great to meet you.
Thank
and
you.
How about Sam? Do you want to go next?
Sure. My name is Samuel. I work for the city of Philadelphia under a team called International Business and Global Strategy. Basically, our role is like Davey and Jason's role at this state level, but we are like the city level people. We are like the concierge for international companies, and our like international visitors. We are always listening and to see how we can help business to solve that here in Philadelphia. In terms of my goal this summer, try to lose weight. I ate too much the past 3 months. Try to learn some like healthy food recipe, and I still can eat a lot, but keep me in good shape. That's my goal.
That's great, and probably help your immune system too, which would not be a bad idea. That's great. Well, welcome, Samuel. It's great to see you. And let's see, Natalie is saying she's +1 on the she can't stop eating either. So you've got a healthy buddy coming. So that's great. And how about Jason?
Sure. Jason Hunt. I work for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Office of International Business Development. As Sam alluded to in his presentation, our team works to help international companies land and succeed in Pennsylvania. I'm on the investment attraction team there, and we serve as kind of the concierge for these international companies, so that they're kind of one-stop shop for state government. And I know we've done some work with a number of folks on this call to try to help make connections for these companies and get them moving here. You see me in a not at home background here because I'm currently wearing a second hat as part of our state's COVID-19 response as well.
Well, thank you for doing that. And what are you looking forward to in the summer?
I did forget about that. I'm looking forward to getting my kayaks in the water. It's finally time for that, and it would be much better than being stuck at the Emergency Management Agency headquarters. I'll tell you that.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Well, good. I hope you get in the water soon. That's we splashed our boat this weekend for the first time, and it's cathartic for sure. So awesome.
Yeah, I'm hoping for Saturday. Fingers crossed.
Good, good. And how about Rob?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rob Ray. Along with Paul McGuire, I'm one of the founding partners at Litis. So Paul, as always, did a good job describing who we are and what we do. The only thing I would add to that is that what my view is for this summer and what I'm looking forward to starts tomorrow, probably around 5 o'clock, sitting on a beach chair staring at the Atlantic Ocean. So can't wait for that.
Where are you going?
see y'all.
Excellent. Well, have fun. Enjoy the
Thank
trip. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how about Jeff?
Sure. Nice to see everybody in Philadelphia. I am Jeff Artis. I'm the business development director for IBT Online, a specialist digital marketing agency that supports international businesses through website localization and international online marketing. You'll be hearing more from me in a few minutes, but I'll jump on a couple of themes. I've also gained the COVID-19 instead of the freshman 15. And am also looking for some water. My son has a sailboat, and we're hoping to get that in on Saturday. So that's everybody's summer escape, I guess.
Yeah, sailboats or boats in general seem like at least somewhat safer, right? It's easy to be 6 feet apart out at sea. So that's great. Well, welcome, Jeff. And how about Steve?
Hi, it's Steve Moscow. I live west of the city in Westchester. I work for Point B. It's a global consulting company. I've been fortunate enough to work all over the world. I think relative to the international community in Philadelphia, I've been active in the past in the French American Chamber of Commerce and have a lot of ties to France through my wife and friends and family. And for the summer, I've set my expectations fairly low. I have a pretty good garden going in the background, and I'm just going to enjoy working in the garden until things clear out.
Good for you. Yeah, it'll be a different summer for sure for all of us, but well, good. Hopefully you're growing some fun stuff. Are you mainly fruits and vegetables or flowers? What?
A little of both. Yeah, I've lived in my house for 9 years, and for the past 6 years, I've been annoying my wife by putting lots of things in the ground every year, and this year it's really exploding. It's been a great year for flowers.
Well, good for you. It's dominate the lawn area. That's awesome.
Right.
Welcome, Steve. And Val, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Val Kogan, Mid-Atlantic Eurasia Business Council. We're international chamber based in Philadelphia. It's happened to be our 25th anniversary, not the way that we expected it, but in any case, we actually involved for a whole 25 years in entrepreneurial programs and bring entrepreneurs from Eurasian countries to Philadelphia and to Mid-Atlantic region frequently. We were supposed to bring a multi-country delegation in May, and now we still hoping to do it in late September. But if it's not happened, we will try to do it virtual way. And we usually we have an opening for this historical and Philadelphia City Hall, but the second day usually in University City Science Center, and we were lucky to have a Karina presented for us in the past. Thanks.
Fantastic. And Val, before you go, what are you enjoying this summer?
Well, I do hope my international travel now it's an open question, so I don't know if it will happen. I supposed to go to New York as my son. It's his last week of residency. So that it's where I have to be, and we just got one local court finally open, so I'm hoping to play tennis again. It's my most immediate hope.
Yeah. Well, good luck getting out on the court and certainly with your son's finishing residency. That's great. And how about Fernando? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Good afternoon. Fernando Ramirez. I'm here in Philadelphia, beautiful fish town, waiting for the beer gardens to open up. I've been on so many Zoom calls that I broke my camera. That's why you cannot see me today. I've been waiting for a virtual assistant to diagnose my troubles. So I've been waiting for 3 days now. So I'm learning a lot about remote virtual assistants. And I'm the founder of a startup called Bridges 2030. And what we are doing is really focusing on supporting and advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are based on the UN 2030 agenda. And there's a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done in that area. And we're helping companies that are interested in being part of the UN ecosystem in working in this global endeavor to find the right technology solutions. I'm particularly focused on developing countries where there's a tremendous amount of need for technology.
So Fernando, these are like 30 seconds, so you're kind of winding up, but if you wouldn't mind, what are you enjoying this summer?
So this summer, I'm enjoying or looking forward to getting back out on the soccer field. I want to be a professional soccer player when I grow up. So I've been working on this for the last 45 years.
So you're ready to peak just about now.
I think I'm ready. I'm waiting for that phone call.
Brilliant. Well, good. I hope you get drafted. This sounds promising. Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you here today with us, Fernando. And how about Kelly?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly, and I'm with Meet, and we help international companies exhibit at trade shows. This summer, I'm looking forward to continuing sailing and cycling.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. So it's actually really my pleasure, and I think probably most of you probably know Karina, who is certainly at the University Science Center, but she has taken on, I think she must already have like 25 hats from all the stories I hear, but she's taken on one more, and that is chapter leading the Land Partners group here in Philadelphia. So Karina, do you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit about your vision for the chapter?
So in the words of my good friend, Bill Kinney, ahoy, everyone. So good to see you. I think I know almost everyone on my screen, which is really great. So yes, when Bill proposed that we will take on to be the sort of Philadelphia leader in this fabulous organization that is growing so fast, I was thrilled to do it because I feel like the Science Center already is kind of glue that glues a lot of what you guys do together. So it makes sense that we will continue to do it in this capacity as well. And that's why I also proposed Venture Cafe, which is part of the Science Center. Every Thursday we have this gathering. So if you haven't been here, now you're logged in. So next time you come in, it will be much easier. And as an organization, the reason why I know so many of you, although I haven't talked to so many of you also in a long time, and I'm looking at you, Rob, is because in addition to everything else that the Science Center is doing, we've been here for 57 years. We work with 30 plus universities, helping them commercialize their innovation. We also have a global soft landing platform to help international companies to enter the US market. And what we do for them, we prep them for people like you, Paul, and you, Rob, so that you can take them further. We give them the fundamentals, essentially, how to enter US market from operational point of view, regulatory and investment, and then we turn them onto consultants like yourself to help them further. So we've been now on our 4th cohort, which started last week. You will see this frequent visitor. His name is Pushkin, and he just loves to be on the camera, sorry. So that's why the Science Center, that's why we're here. We work with the city and the state and a lot of consultants who come to us as mentors to our companies. And I'm so thrilled to host this first meeting and looking forward to doing it on a monthly basis and growing this company.
Sounds cool.
And my summer, Bill.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
summer.
yes. Yeah.
Oh my
yes.
God, my summer. So for the last 18 years, we've been going to Latvia every summer and adding one more European country on our trips. I am from Latvia originally, 32 years ago. So this summer, instead of Latvia, we're going to go to Vermont because we miss pine trees and blueberries and mushrooms. And we hope that Vermont will fill that void for us this summer. Yep.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Not Latvia, but certainly you'll have a great time in Vermont.
I hope so.
Probably a little safer. That's great.
At the moment, yes.
Yes. Well, thank you, Karina. So I'm going to give just a very brief overview on Soft Land Partners so you guys know a little bit more about it. And then I'm going to turn the sort of MC facility or the MC responsibilities over to Karina, and she's going to facilitate the service provider spotlight and then the roundtable discussion, although we may have to adapt our roundtable a little bit if David doesn't show up. So,
well, Jason is here in lieu of David because Jason works with David. So
this is so good.
We're good.
Push Jason into service.
Exactly.
Perfect. So let me just give you a quick story about Soft Land Partners and how we started. So in our business, we help international companies enter the US and exhibit at trade shows. And we've been in this business about 7 years. And what we've found over those 7 years is more and more companies are coming to us as we would say, as damaged children. In other words, after having had horrific market entry experiences before they met us. And, you know, just as an example, we have an Australian client who on 2 US market entry attempts, 2 failed attempts, spent $1.2 million and just totally frustrated. I'm amazed they actually are trying a 3rd time, and thankfully they're getting good traction now and things are going well. But it's really struck us as a significant problem. And as we've talked to folks like yourself, and we tend to get a lot of nodding heads as we talk about this, that our experience isn't unusual, that most are seeing this high failure rate and a real gap in terms of the connection between internationalizing companies and market entry companies and competent and ethical and professional service provision. And so our platform right now is based on sort of 2 facilities. One is a online marketplace that market entry and internationalizing companies can access and self-serve, or they can use a virtual concierge. And then these meetups, and we started these meetups. The website for the organization went up 6 months ago, so we are nascent. The meetups started 3 months ago, first being in New York. Now we're in 11 cities around the world, including Moscow. We just had yesterday the Mumbai meetup, Sao Paulo, London, Amsterdam, and then in the US we have, besides Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Connecticut, LA, and finally San Francisco. And probably a new location is being added every 2 weeks right now. But the real goal is to build very dense market entry and internationalization ecosystems in each city, and then build bridges around the world. So it's very easy to make those valuable connections and help these international companies. Our only true north in developing this is the success of the market entry company. So everything we do, everything we build, going forward will be aligned with that outcome. So we don't, if there are transactions that happen, we don't take any part of them. We're completely agnostic to geography, to industry, to service provider or whatnot. Again, all we care about is the success of the globalizing or internationalizing company. So we will, just so you all know, we will send out an email tomorrow with follow-up that will give you more information. If you want to get involved, there are 2 ways to get involved: either as a partner, which is you'd have to be a trade and investment organization. So in other words, either government or an industry association, or as a service provider. And for the partners, it's free. And for the service providers, it's a whopping crazy $100 a year. And part of that, and you can come to one meeting as a guest. After that, we want you to be joined, because part of the onboarding process is you agree to a certain set of professional and ethical standards. And obviously we all want to refer to and be partners with folks who are so like-minded. That's kind of a real important value. So enough from me on that. And we will, and I should have said off the top too, we're not in a big hurry to get off. We will stop the formal part at the end of the hour, but we can have conversations, kind of continue the conversation on any topic as well. So yeah, but we are sensitive that people have to roll usually after 60 minutes, or at least some folks do. So I'm going to turn it back over to Karina and let her roll from here. And welcome, Karina, the Philadelphia chapter leader.
Thank you. So this is our first time. So Bill, I will need some help. Sure. From the agenda point of view, usually the way the meetings go, there are two presenters. They have a very specific time allocation so that no one goes for too long. And then we sort of open up the discussion. Is that right?
Yeah, and so Jeff has been on a few meetups, so he'll know. But Jeff, I'll pop you at when you have 2 minutes left on text, just so you see. But yeah, he'll have 6 minutes, and if you just want to give more of an overview of what you're doing and who you're looking to connect to, and you know the story. So Jeff is a recovering trade and investment professional, so he knows both. He was worn both of these hats that we're addressing and joining here. So.
Yes, recovering trade and investment professional, former Austrader, former Invest Northern Ireland, former DHLer, and now a digital marketing strategist. It's amazing how the times change, even for my generation. So I want to talk to you just for a minute today about digital marketing concepts to support international business. This could be a much longer conversation. I'm happy to have that conversation with anybody offline. I work for IBT Online. IBT Online is International Business and Technology, and we basically work with international businesses to raise their visibility and build their brand, and where appropriate, help them drive sales through international digital marketing strategies, including website localization. I would love to meet any clients that you work with, or talk to you about your needs if you have some in this area. There's my contact information. We'll have that again in a little bit later. Just very quickly, we've been around since 2002, have worked with about 450 clients in 20+ language across 40+ countries. So we have lots of experience supporting many different types of companies with many different types of objectives. A couple of quick statistics that should be interesting for you. The world is definitely moving to online business. 4.5 billion internet users. 60% of the global population uses the internet, and we all spend about 6 hours and 45 minutes online every day, and that doesn't take COVID into account. So imagine what it is for all of us now. Social media use ever increasing. Annual growth about 10% a year in social media. 3.75 billion people, or 99% of social media users, now accessing internet content and communicating on their phone. So big numbers, and it's only growing bigger than that. Why should you think about doing international business online? It applies to B2C, to B2B, business to government, inbound, outbound, product or service. It's valuable for US exporters. It's value for foreign exporters selling into the United States. It's value for companies establishing in the United States. Anywhere that you need to communicate clearly and effectively in another market, including clients you may be helping who want to do that in American English, from Australia, the UK, Ireland, where we're separated by a common language. Two basic components to what we do: website development and international online marketing to support websites. Something to keep in mind, this is very effective because the way messaging is controlled is very different. It used to be that if you were a company, you basically had control over who knew what about you and who said what about you. You control the marketing message. Now it's a very customer-centric environment. So the web is a way to also get engaged with people's conversations and discussions about you, to educate and differentiate and establish yourself as a thought leader in whatever it is that you're doing. Keyword localization is very important. For example, take here, if you were looking for something related to cars, you'd use a different term in Mexico than you would in Spain. Google is not one search engine, it's really 200 different search engines, so you have to customize for your market. I'll skip through this a bit, but if you were to do a search for squeakless dog toys so that your dog or your cat Pushkin wouldn't interrupt you on a video conference call, you'd get a very different result searching where I am in Boston versus from London in the UK. So it's important to get found in the right places. A lot more to localization than just translation, including hosting, URLs, navigation, load time, cultural aspects. There are a lot more things than just plugging Google Translate into your website, a lot more to adapting you so that you can get found and be understood in other markets. I won't spend any time on this, but suffice to say that it's important to understand with online marketing who it is that you're contacting, what your buyer persona is, and what they need. We do have an online global program where we work with a number of different state trade agencies, including Pennsylvania, to offer a simple starter program of website localization for companies so that they can build credibility, build trust, work with companies B2C, B2B, engage consumers B2C, generate leads, support distributors by owning and controlling their own online presence and supplying it to distributors as a tool. Online business is also very easy to manage with data because there are a lot of KPIs, so you can see what you're doing. This is an especially good time to keep international online business development in mind because we're getting ready for the rebound now. We don't know exactly what it looks like, what shape it will take, but what this allows you to do is to let your overseas customers, your overseas partners know that you are open for business and continue to advance your business development when you're trapped behind your desk and can't spend your time visiting customers and at trade shows. So much bigger discussion. I would be happy to have it offline with anyone who's interested in learning more, but appreciate the chance to talk to you for a few minutes.
Awesome, thank you. So on a monthly basis, we will pick 2 speakers, one service provider and one may be more of a trade specialist, and so that way we will rotate through all of us, and hopefully we will bring more people into the fold so we'll all know each other and can utilize each other in our work. So I see that David joined us. So Jason, you're off the hook. I know.
But that I was on the Eventbrite invitation.
Sorry, I know. There was some confusion about the link, so we will get better. Okay. So it's my pleasure to introduce David Briel. We work with David and Jason and Samuel and so many people here on a daily, weekly basis. So David, do you want to tell people what you guys do and the services you provide?
Sure, and then Jason, you can add things too if you want, or certainly our partner, Sam, our partner at the city could as well.
Just before you go, David, you have 6 minutes, right?
I have 6 minutes, okay? Ready, go.
I'm sorry, let's do this because it's we've kind of shifted Karina a little bit, and I think David, I communicated this to you, is
3 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be great to have kind of your story in like 3 minutes or so. Okay. And then if you would launch us into a discussion topic around, something you're trying to solve or an important issue that you're working on either with one of your client companies or in the new reality of COVID in terms of promoting Philadelphia and growing Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So just to Karina's point, first just to give some background on what the Office of International Business Development in Pennsylvania does. So we're part of the Department of Community and Economic Development, but our office essentially has 2 goals. One is to help Pennsylvania companies export products and services around the world. And 2 is to promote Pennsylvania as an investment location for international companies looking to land in North America. I think that perhaps for the purpose of today's discussion is probably more apropos what we're talking about. So every year we work with generally 90 to 100 companies who come to us primarily through a network of international contractors that the Commonwealth has. We have them placed in our major markets around the world. The UK, Japan, Australia, India, China, France, and others, who are there again to find these contacts and bring them, to track them to Pennsylvania. Obviously there are times when, they might know New York and California, but, Pennsylvania, be it Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, doesn't add up, it doesn't get in the lists, it does not get in the short list. And their goal is to get Pennsylvania noticed, get the companies over here to take a look at the opportunities here. So, the major issue I think that we face, and Jason, I think differentiating between, it'd be great to have a comprehensive and well-maintained, which is, I think, is the key point, so listing of what's available out there. I think that's the piece, that well-maintained. The Science Center is obviously better than most. Science Center is sort of the gold standard for this, but there are, around the state, because we represent the whole state, trying to find, when we get these inquiries from 90 or so companies a year, the goal is to find space in a quick manner. We can show them, and how do you differentiate between A, B, and C? And some kind of listing would be helpful. Jason, is there anything you would add to that?
Yeah, those types of resources would be quite helpful, and it is difficult for us as the state to maintain that type of list. So independent, having that kept somewhere independently would certainly be useful. I think the obvious challenge immediately before us is pretty much everything COVID related. Our business, like all of yours, is built off of international travel, and trying to figure out how to do that virtually to keep the pipeline full is a challenge I think we're all facing together.
So just to summarize, so David, what you're looking to solve is how do we build a comprehensive list of resources available for internationalization and soft landing?
Comprehensive and maintained, yes. Maintained being the key, because I think that's where we fell off the boat.
Yeah, and then Jason's is how do we sort of virtualize the process of whether it's trade delegations or any efforts to help.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, that's.
But help companies see Pennsylvania or certain cities or jurisdictions from wherever they are.
That's right. We've started doing, with partners like Karina and others across Pennsylvania, started doing some very sector-specific webinars. But they only go so far. And now there's so many options for webinars available that we also risk getting lost in the noise. And I think trying to find a way to keep companies engaged, keep Pennsylvania on their radar in a way that provides value that they can then act on once we're all able to travel again. I think that's kind of the crux of it.
Well, good. So let's maybe take David's first, and and certainly looking for anyone that has ideas of resources. That's part of what Land Partners is looking to do, is to really map the ecosystems that are available for resources for companies that are either outbound or inbound everywhere in the world. But are there, Karina or anyone else, what other resources are available that you know of in whether Philadelphia or Pennsylvania generally to find those resources?
So I think I can channel everyone in our frustration. The biggest frustration I think all of us face is when we travel, people know of New York, Boston, San Francisco, and they don't know Philadelphia. They think Philadelphia is Florida. I've had so many conversations like that. So how do we promote this region as awesome as it is? So there is something called PGBA. You guys, some of you know, it's a Philadelphia Business, Philadelphia Global Business Alliance. And this is a group of about maybe 25 people, including state and city and World Trade Center and a couple of service providers. We get together on a monthly basis and we put together a website with resources. Now, whether it's going to be maintained and how good this website is remain to be seen, but I'll be happy to share it, and you know, we should probably find a way to expand it. So that's one resource. Another thing that, not as a self-promotion at all, but I just want to highlight what we started doing and then find maybe a way to expand it as well. So in our Global Soft Landing program, it used to be one intensive week here in Philadelphia. Now it's online for foreseeable future, and it's theme-based. So this, in February and right now, we're running the MedTech program. It's 10 sessions, and we bring in experts in regulatory, in legal, in operational, in insurance, and how to deal with payers, all of that. But we also bring in mentors who then form relationship with companies, and after our program can basically run with companies as part of their board or as continuing mentoring or as their first hired employees. So I welcome your ideas how to utilize your companies. I'm thinking that, you know, we've done MedTech. Our next one in November is in cell and gene therapy, just because Science Center is so well equipped to do it. But I'm also toying with the idea of doing it for fintech companies and for smart city technologies. And I know, Rob, for example, you are the IT guy, so that probably will be a good time to bring you as a mentor to this company. So I'm totally open to suggestions how we can collectively collaborate. And that's not to take away from the problem, how do we put Philadelphia on the map, but that is something where we can start. And I've been working with our 18 representatives from the state of Pennsylvania. They've been hugely, hugely helpful. Thank you to Jason and David in promoting us and promoting our program and promoting Philadelphia. So that's all I wanted to add.
So yeah, so the topic is how, you know, what resources are available, and whether it's Philadelphia or Pennsylvania wide for identifying all of the internationalization or market entry resources. Does anyone, Karina had some good ideas. Are there others that, any resources that folks know about, directories or indexes or anything like that?
Yeah, I think one of the things, and Paul had mentioned earlier, we're fairly Ireland and UK centric. So we have a lot of direct connections to each country. And I think we do have a relatively strong network of international chambers of commerce in the Philadelphia area. Working closely with them, who many times they end up being the first point of contact for delegations who, you know, they may be going through the consulate in New York, and somebody within the group says, well, where else can we go? And they get a, you know, somebody from the Chilean consulate reaches out to the Chilean chamber in Philly. I think bringing the chambers of, and I think we all individually and collectively interface with them anyway, but we have found to be a pretty good source of companies who may be coming or even thinking about Philadelphia. And I think, Karina, you've seen it yourself. More often than not, we get clients in, particularly from Ireland, who they think Boston, New York, Chicago, they've never been to Philly. They come in for the first time, they're like, wow, I had no idea. And I think leveraging the local chambers and bringing them into this community, or at least making them aware of the collective nature of this community and what we can provide, is going to continue to go a long way, and something I think we should, you know, not double down on, but continue to foster.
And to that point, my biggest fear is that now with COVID, the budgets have been sliced from the city, and a lot of this binational chambers find themselves in a really dire situation financially. So if we also can find a way to support them in any way, that's also is a worthy topic of discussion. And we should probably, I should do better outreach to invite them for our next meetup for sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any other directories or resources that anyone knows of that might have at least part of the ecosystem?
So I know that the different universities do different things as well. I know Temple has been pretty involved in international business as well. So we should, they're part of PGBA. We should invite them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we've probably got maybe 5 more minutes, but let's maybe talk about David's topic, because this topic, as we've started to do these sort of roundtables around various trade and investment topics, and we started maybe 2 weeks ago, this topic of how do we virtualize the sort of tour or delegation mission, trade mission process has been a popular one. What ideas, what have folks seen that they've seen? Obviously, it's a very short period here that we've sort of been forced into this, but what have folks seen, or what ideas do you have in terms of how we might virtualize the tour of Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or wherever?
Well, I just had a call today with the World Trade Center guys, and I know that usually in September there's a big mission where a lot of companies come here, they bring companies, and now it's not going to happen. So we talked about maybe various ways of online platforms, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's through our office. That's the international contractors, the trade side, who come in September. So this year it's virtual, essentially, right? We do that annually, but this year will be virtual. But that's the Pennsylvania International Network.
So how is the formatting change when you virtualize it? So how many days is it normally? What's the format going to be like?
Normally, it's for that particular piece where the international contractors, they travel around Pennsylvania to meet company representatives to talk about their export strategies. Now, there's 10 regions that it's broken up, from Philadelphia to Erie, and regions that, in between, some which are very rural. It's generally about 10 days, frankly. Yeah. So it's a rather long. Now, how this is obviously not going to be a 10-day event. It's still being put together.
Yeah.
And how that is formed. This is the first time to do it virtually, so stay tuned. Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Very cool. Well, it'd be interesting to see how that forms and how it works.
Now we also do, every 24 months, we do, for investment purposes, the contractors, some of whom are the same as the trade contractors, we do a tour of Pennsylvania, which we would do again. Actually, this was not, we did it a few months, we did it in August of 2019. So it'd probably begin mid-2021. Something to think about how we market at that point. The reps who are specifically there to market the regions. That's another, how we would do that. Now, Karina, you were front and center on that one. I think you were day one. You were one of our first speakers, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Stay tuned, because we're not sure how. By 2021, hopefully, this is all a distant memory and we're back to some state of normalcy, but who knows?
Hopefully we have a vaccine.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other ideas? What has everyone else seen or ideas do you have on this topic? This is the interactive part, just so you guys know. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate the laugh.
Yeah, so I know, like, early on in all of this, one of our colleagues organized a virtual site visit for a company out in Pittsburgh that went fairly well, but was incredibly technology dependent. And this particular company representative had already been to Pennsylvania and Ohio and had narrowed it down to 2 sites, one here and one there. And so already knew some of the players involved. It was not like an entire, a Zoom call with a group of people he'd never met before. But it was still, I mean, that particular version of it worked. They essentially had the realtor walk around this building with a GoPro on his head, and and a guy with a Wi-Fi hotspot following him, making sure he didn't lose connection, and it worked. But, like, could have ended up quite messy. And who knows if that's the best way to do it. Now that project, like most of our projects, is paused while that company assesses what the next 12 months are going to bring.
The one thing, Jason, was that he had been on that site once before. That was the second. He had physically been there,
okay.
right? Yeah.
So I think that would be a hard model to duplicate, but an interesting idea anyway.
Well, one suggestion I also have, so Venture Cafe is a global organization. And a couple of weeks ago, I went to Venture Cafe. Now that we're in COVID, it actually gives us opportunity to virtually visit venture cafes in all sorts of places. So I went to one in Rotterdam, and I went to one in Poland and Warsaw. So I ended up talking to companies at different tables. There's a platform called Remo where you can go and visit different tables. And that was very useful to talk about Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. So I encourage you, until we go back, when we go back to normal, the advantage will be that we will be around the bar, because Venture Cafe actually does have a bar with a drink in our hand. But while we're here, the silver lining is that we can go to different places and form those connections. So I suggest you guys do that.
Kelly,
that's a good idea.
Kelly, in 30 seconds, you've been attending tons of virtual events and have seen some pretty good best practices. Would you mind just sharing those real quick?
Well, number one, I would say if you're going to have a bar, the coolest thing is to make it virtual and real. So we were part of an event where they sent virtual whiskey tastings to every participant, and they all did a shot together, and they had the whiskey brewer talking about it. And it was really, it was kind of fun and unique, and it highlighted a specific area of the country, and that was cool.
Just to be clear, it wasn't virtual whiskey, it was real whiskey.
It was real whiskey sent to them. So it was a tactile with the virtual event. So that was really, and it gave the location a great shine. I would say the virtual events that I've attended, the most important thing is to show up with great questions and be engaged. So of the virtual conferences, I was at a conference where they had 5,000 people signed up on day one, and day two, they had 40,000 people participating. So the word of mouth and what happened, because it was so engaging, people were like reaching out saying, oh my God, this conference is great, everybody should come. And it was a real unique way to leverage technology. And the best thing that we did was had sizzle reels, good questions, and I really had to push our team to ask questions and engage in the chat. So that's as fast as I can do that.
Cool. So real short, concise comments and move on, right? Is that part of the idea? Cool. Shorter content and more velocity, more interaction. Cool. Karina, do you want to kind of close us up? I know there are a couple of people that are going to be leaving right at the end of the hour, and then we can continue on any other conversation.
Yeah, we already lost Rob, but so I think maybe for the next month, I think we're thinking of July 9th, which is also Thursday. And I think Venture Cafe, now that you all went through the login process, I think it works really well. And because then you can go and visit other Venture Cafe events that's happening before and after our meetup. So unless I hear a strong otherwise, I think it makes sense to continue this platform. I think I will be reaching out to binationals and service providers. There are lots of lawyers, accountants that work with firms that can actually do referrals. So maybe we should open up our Rolodex to service providers as well. Let me know your ideas how we can improve, expand this group. I think helping each other, we'll all have the same goal essentially. So would love to hear some ideas how to improve it for the next one.
That's great. The one thing I would suggest too is, pick one or two people between now and the next meeting to get together with, obviously virtually, but we're going to be much stronger organizationally. You'll make much better connections if each of us kind of builds good intimacy with a few, as opposed to just looking for superficial relationships with many. You'll tend to find that works a lot better. And I've already got my couple picked out, so hopefully you have as well. But I think you'll see a lot more not just return for yourself, but you'll see a lot more activity in the group, which will obviously help drive the economies we're looking to promote. So all good. So this is open time now. So any other topics anyone has, if you have to skate, you know, we certainly understand, but it's so great to see you all, and we're looking to really help drive great market entry and international expansion to and from Pennsylvania.
Well, and I want to add, so we always think Pennsylvania, but Bill, you and I talked about it. I think East Coast. So relationship with you and your group is equally important, I think. So I want to think beyond borders, bigger.
Yes, for sure. Well, and ultimately, I think we're going to attract much more if we're sort of agnostic. I understand that there are certain folks on the call that have agendas to promote regions and all that, and that totally makes sense, and we support that. But ultimately, if we're all most concerned about the success of the market entry or globalizing company, I think we'll all do very well. Any other topics anyone was hoping to chat about? This is you know, really your time. Just imagine you've got a cold beer or a cold beverage, and we're chatting. And what else would you like to talk about?
Can I just add in one more thought for Jason?
Go.
Jason, I was on a call yesterday with a bunch of UK CEOs coming to the United States. And number one, the urgency was amazing about this is a time when they could differentiate themselves in the US marketplace. So they were able to get meetings easier and because of COVID, it was a lot better exchange and they were getting traction quickly. So, okay. So I'll, Jason, I'll shoot. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think I caught most of that, but yeah, I would appreciate a message.
Okay, I'll shoot you a couple bullets that I heard, and I thought it would help you with talking with people.
Thanks. Yeah, certainly appreciate that.
Cool. What other topics?
Bill, if you'll allow me, I'm going to make a quick non sequitur comment. While we're all drinking beers, it appears I was drinking too much beer prior to our meeting today, and I was talking to a very nicely curated set of slides that no one could see because I forgot to hit screen share. So Bill has kindly offered to deposit my presentation on Slack. I'm going to reach out to some of you, but I hope you'll go and have a look at that. So what day is it and what video conference platform am I on? Apologies for that.
We're zoomed out.
We are, absolutely. All right, anyone else?
No, I think that's it for me. It was great to virtually meet everybody, and I look forward to participating in these events going forward, and you know, hopefully in person before too long.
That sounds great. Nice to meet you, Jason.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Jason.
Thanks, David. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Thank you, Bill. Thanks, Karina.
Good to see you guys.
Thanks, Val.